Hello, my name is Argo, and recently, Atheism is Unstoppable uploaded his video, Questions White People Have for SJWs, and not even the day after, I believe, this man had posted his replies, his answers, and I am going to see what I think of them, and see if they're correct.
Hello there, and welcome one and all. How are we all? I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Now, this will be my response to a video put up by the Amazing Atheist featuring many of his anti-feminist friends entitled Questions White Men Have for SJWs. Only joking, SJWs. And whilst I don't actually consider myself to be an SJW by any real measure, because frankly that term has no fucking meaning anymore, and arguably never really did. It's just a fucking smear.
First off, SJW isn't a word, it's an acronym, but even with that, SJWs are still very prominent, and it's not an insult, it's just what a person is if they are so much a social justice warrior. So, I don't know about that.
Why do you claim to speak for LGBT people, women, and ethnic minorities, but when LGBT people, women, and ethnic minorities disagree with you, you harass them?
Why do you claim to speak for white men, but when white men like me, for instance, disagree with you, you harass them?
You avoided the question, but to answer your question, white people have a privilege in quotation, so they can't speak for other races or genders.
Also, it's interesting that a group of people who, including the Amazing Atheist, claim that you can't do internet harassment. That's not harassment. That's fine. Until it suits you.
Would you consider a response video harassment? And SJWs flag, dox, and so much to silence other opinions. Because anti-SJWs don't entice people to attack others or harass others, unlike some SJWs. I see your channel was flagged. That means if it goes to you, it can go to the other way, like it did with AIU, which you already know.
Do you realize that your war on language through political correctness has made you bedfellows with true rape culture? In other words, Islam.
Only Muslims are doing right, people. That's the narrative. Let's stick to it.
Nice straw man. You're trying to make these people look like the bad guys, when they said nothing to the sort of Muslims are the only ones that rape. They are the only ones that legally rape in their country.
The world's most misogynistic ideology.
That can definitely be argued, that point, yes. I think Islam probably is the world's most nakedly misogynistic anyway.
It is the most misogynistic culture in the world. I don't know what could beat it, and he said it's the most negative misogynistic? What? What does that even mean?
Ideology. And that's one of the reasons I don't like Islam. But the idea that, oh well, let's not focus on any problems here. Let's just look over there. The brown people are doing stuff. Your fucking fallacy of relative privation does not work here.
I'm glad we can agree on not liking Islamic countries, but feminists are only focusing on things that are happening here in the US. They're not even thinking about Islamic countries where women are actually oppressed.
You're gonna have to come up with a better argument than that.
Do you want women to be equal, or do you want women to be a protected class? You can't have both. If you expect society to treat women as equal with men, why don't women have to take responsibility for their own safety?
Women do take responsibility for their own safety. Most women carry like mace or a rape alarm or something with them, but women do take responsibility for that shit. The difference is if you say, oh, you did something like, I don't know, you dressed in a particular way or you got drunk or you were in the wrong part of town, or you didn't learn fucking black belt karate or something like that, and then you got raped, therefore it's your fault. That's fucked up. Now, I'm not accusing the armored skeptic or any particular individual of saying that, but that does get said. That's what we're arguing against. Certainly that's what I'm arguing.
Most women don't carry around a taser or pepper spray, though it'd be nice. But nobody's claiming that they're the victim if they don't learn how to fight back. They should learn how to fight back, but nobody's saying that they're at fault for not learning how to fight back.
What are you afraid will happen when you leave your safe space?
Says the guy involved in what is essentially a fucking circle jerk video here.
You're missing the question and attacking the people in it. You're not answering the question like your video says you are. Come on, man.
Okay.
How can you possibly justify the idea that it's somehow racist to disagree with Black Lives Matter, and yet it's not racist when a black person tweets something like, "Kill all white people"?
I don't think it is necessarily racist to disagree with Black Lives Matter, certainly in terms of their tactics. I think, for instance, most recently the interrupting and sidetracking of the Toronto, I think it was Toronto, wasn't it? Gay Pride march. That was disgusting. So there are things they've done which are pretty bad, but so I don't think that's racist inherently at all. Yeah, but I think if you want to downplay, and we'll get back to this in a second with TJ, but if you want to downplay that shit, that is racist. But if you want to downplay the core arguments, that's racist, I would suggest.
I see what you're saying by the them taking over parade, how it's not racist to disagree with that. But the thing is, that's not what he was saying. He says against the ideology or the movement. People think it's racist to disagree with Black Lives Matter. But if they go online and say, "Kill all white people," then they're praised, or people back them up, which isn't right.
Here's a question.
And this is the thing. They want to be taken seriously, and they've got this fucking basically neo-Nazi prick.
So having valid arguments and facts makes you a neo-Nazi. I honestly don't see how that happens, but whatever you say, I mean, I guess.
Are you aware that the present is not the past? I'm not kidding. Are you familiar with the concept of linear time?
Ironic, given that your racial politics comes straight out of the 1920s, Roo?
Because you seem incredibly comfortable traveling back through time to talk about how bad things were for women, or black people, or whoever. And then by using some form of SJW magic, you then claim or imply that those problems in the past exist today. Are you aware that this trick that you're doing is not working?
I don't think people, by and large, and certainly I'm not saying that those problems necessarily still exist, it's that they have a hangover effect. They still affect society. You can't just stop like a fucking centuries-old practice and then none of the problems that come from that practice remain. Like they're obviously going to have a hangover effect.
This hangover effect disappeared way back when. See, people nowadays, once they're 18, are on an equal playing field with small deviations. The deviations consist of maybe having a criminal record or missing a parent so that you're economically not as stable as you were with both parents, if they're willing to help you.
Why do you think that would work?
Fuck off.
Do you really think you can spend your entire life in a state of perpetual emotional immaturity?
Says the guy who was one of the leaders of a movement that had a hissy fit over video game journalism.
Are you writing off the question because the person behind it? And Gamergate was very important to the anti-SJW community, as it showed a way that we could fight back against the feminists trying to take over.
Do you actually imagine that you'll be able to stretch out your adolescence for your entire existence?
Video game journalism.
Again, attacking him, not the question, doesn't help your point at all. No matter how childish it may seem, it doesn't help you in this situation.
There are 13% more women in college right now than men. So if the whole goal of feminism is equality, shouldn't we have some men-only scholarships in order to equal everything else?
Well, Milo Yiannopoulos did set up the privilege grant, so if you want to, you can go and give him money for that. Or you could just get off your arse and go to college, Duster? I know that would take some brain cells.
Saying that men can get off their ass and fund their college is like saying women can. They can, they have the opportunity, and there's no privileges which you're saying there are. The privileges are how much money you can earn by yourself. And don't blame wage gap. Wage gap has been debunked multiple times, so it doesn't work.
Feminism and egalitarianism are both for equal rights. Then why does one start with a gendered prefix while the other one is entirely gender neutral?
Wow, semantics, that's interesting. Basically, feminism fights for something, and egalitarianism, or people who call themselves egalitarians, don't. It's just a get out of jail free card, as far as they're concerned. It's virtue signaling, which I know you people claim not to like, but do constantly.
Egalitarianism can't fight for anything, because if it does, feminism will get in the way and shut it down, like they did with the male domestic violence shelter. They shut it down, and the guy killed himself for it.
You don't, when you're an egalitarian, you just say, I'm for equal rights, and that's that, and you don't actually do anything.
That's because feminism won't let us, as I've said before. They'll shut us down before we can.
What do you hope to gain by bringing back racial segregation?
I don't plan on doing that. I think that's a stupid idea.
When my granduncle was dropping bombs on London,
Thanks for that.
did your grandparents get out of their bunkers in the morning to protest with signs that read, "Not all Nazis"?
That's right. The way to come across as not a bigot is to definitely suggest that all Muslims are like all Nazis. No, Kraut, don't be a fucking prick, okay? And I'm calling him Kraut because the channel's called Kraut and Tea. I'm not being racist against Germans there or whatever. I presume he's doing the not all Muslims thing or whatever. The difference is it was all fucking Nazis, wasn't it? It wasn't all Nazis bombing London necessarily, but it was all Nazis who were contributing to that thing. They were all the Nazis were bad, okay?
Not all Nazis were bad. If you look into it, these were just regular people caught up in the German massacre or Holocaust. But not all people thought the Jews were bad. But if they didn't, they would be shot by their officers or by other Nazis. So they had to do as they were told. If they didn't do as they were told, they would be thrown into the camps with the Jews, the disabled, gays, anyone they didn't like, or killed. Muslims choose to be this religion, the one where they kill people, rape, pedophilia is allowed, and things like that, the misogynist culture that you think. You could say not all Muslims are bad, but if you look in places like Cologne, Germany, where these refugees are flooding to, they'll rape and pillage.
Whereas not all Muslims are. I think that's the point, isn't it? And I think you know that, and I think you know your argument is a disingenuous pile of dog shite, but whatever.
Hashtag not all. You know, the sacred words, hashtag not all.
Why do you think every cis white male is born racist?
I don't.
Racism is a learned behavior.
And you learnt it very well, Daniel. Well done.
Wow, calling Mr. Rebzion a racist. Everybody hear that? Rebzion's a racist. No, he's not. Don't even.
How can you possibly say that the phrase "all lives matter" is somehow racist? It sounds like something the Dalai Lama would say.
The Dalai Lama's a fucking twat. I don't care what that cunt would say. Like, right. I can't believe this is such a difficult argument for people to grasp. It's so idiotic. These fucking people, right? It's not that saying all lives matter is racist, okay? Because I think the vast majority of humans that exist accept that all lives actually do matter. It's when people say Black Lives Matter and you respond with no, all lives matter, that's racist. Or certainly that can be perceived as racist. Or at the very least, pretty fucking ignorant.
Saying all lives matter isn't racist. Saying Black Lives Matter is racist. But it's only racist if a white person says it, right? Putting black lives over white lives is racist. Reverse racism, it's the same thing.
And the analogy, I heard a very good analogy the other day. It'd be like going to the doctor and saying, "Oh, doctor, I've got a problem with my shin bone." And the doctor then says, "Oh, well, why are you fucking focusing on the shin bone? You know, you've got lots of other bones as well." When you say all lives matter in response to Black Lives Matter, you're saying essentially, shut up, coon. Other people have got problems too. That's what's being said in essence. I know I'm not saying every person that does that is that racist, but that's essentially the end product of that.
By that example, it's like saying you got in a car wreck and all your body is broken, but you only want to focus the doctor on your shin because that one's most important, even though everything else is broken and in shambles as well. It's not right. That's the end of his video. And at the end of it, it says that he got limited to 15 minutes because of a strike on his channel. It happened to AIU too. Don't think it's just you, Special Snowflake. He has a second video. Leave a comment in the comment section if you think I should do the second part. Alright, thank you.